I've harvested some tomatoes and a couple habaneros. Look at the size of that one. From James's yard. And we're going to do a bit of a tomato taste test while I harvest the seeds and listen to James. If I have enough time, I'll talk a little bit more about MacGyver. But
maybe talk
mostly,
about MacGyver
no.
first.
I'm leaving it up to you. I don't really care to talk about MacGyver. I was just kind of creeped out by the story, actually, where it ended up.
MacGyver story.
It became more interesting. It also became more
creepy.
You know, and it made you think eventually about the idea of the Phoenix and stuff, Phoenix organization, and coming from the ashes and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so you go ahead. I'm not gonna do the habanero seeds because no gloves on right now. And
ooh, yeah, you wouldn't want to rub your eye.
No, nothing. Like it's
without gloves. I wouldn't even want to do that after handling onions.
Oh. All right, so I guess I'll get started on this, and then I'll just lay out the different types on the plate.
Okay.
And anyway, what I do is, this time I'm using these trays again, but normally I don't. But
for the seeds.
For the seeds. But I was, in years past, I used these styrofoam trays, just whatever,
This
fish
one's
or
a
something
little
that
wet or something.
James had. It doesn't matter. It's
doesn't matter?
No,
Okay,
it's going to
we'll
dry
get
in seconds out
this.
here anyway.
Okay.
Well, not that long. But anyway, so I just write out what type of tomato. So this here is a lemon boy.
A lemon boy.
This one's a lemon boy. But you can see it's a little more orange than you would expect. And that's maybe because it's not totally a lemon boy anymore.
Sounds like a member of the Legion of Superheroes. They had some amazing, bouncing boy who was fat and just bounced around. And so they had so many heroes. Some of them were amazing losers. Like there was Shrinking Violet, who was so shy she'd disappear, and that was her big trick, the ability to disappear.
Yep.
So I don't know if they've still got the Legion of Superheroes. It's one of my brothers, and actually one of my favorite ones too, way back in the day, in the 60s.
And I'm just going to let the juice on here too, which normally I don't do that. Normally I've shown you in the past. I guess I can show you this time too. I could go get it and show you. But normally I save the juice in a container, so I just put the seeds in I'll show you. So then you can do it this way too, and it's actually better because then you get to drink some call it tomato water because it's not really tomato juice. It doesn't have. You'll see. You go ahead and talk about whatever you're going to
about whatever. Yeah. So I want to talk about what's the big idea, otherwise known as, officially known as, Ideas, starring Nala Ayat. Okay. Someone who just doesn't seem to appreciate the place that's adopted her with open arms and stuff like that. She was born in Canada but spent much of her formative years in a refugee camp, Palestinian refugee camp. I wish they were busy being refugees and fewer of them being busy being terrorists. I'm not saying all of them are, but way too many of them are terrorists. Just out and out terrorists. Not gunmen, terrorists. That's free. Now, so she comes here, she gets a program, and she seems to be aggrieved about something. Well, I don't have a radio program funded by the Canadian taxpayer. Neither does polling. Neither do any number of people. So somehow or another, she managed to score that. 4% of the population of Canada, something like that, is Muslim, and somehow or another, they're kind of overrepresented on CBC, from what I can tell. Abdul, something or other, Ali Hassan, Nala Ayad. There's at least one other. Maybe there's 100 people who are in front of the microphones, and those are the four that are representing the 4%. I doubt it. She keeps on talking about walls. and how basically they should come down. I don't know. Only someone who is like a suicidal, homicidal maniac would be talking about bringing down the walls in Cyprus. The Great Wall of China was intended to keep bumheads out of China. It wasn't one wall. It was several walls, and it extended for kilometer after kilometer after kilometer. It didn't work. So you had bumheads like the Mongols coming in and read your history. They were real bumheads, and they killed and killed and killed. The Chinese Empire killed a lot of people, but nothing per unit time like the Mongols. Good fences make good neighbors. And when you've got folks that are bumheads, like Palestinian terrorists, they got to be kept out.
Oh, did I
They just got
splash
to
you?
be kept out. No?
That's all right.
When you've got
Wasn't
folks who
thinking
are
that
settler,
was
colonialist, imperialists, like the Turks in Cyprus, they've got to be kept out. A good wall makes for good neighbors. So in these two cases, in the case of the Mongols, 3 cases, you've got bumheads, and they got to be kept out. The Mongols did terror. Palestinians do terror. Not all of them, but a goodly or badly number do. The Turks did terror. They're not native to Cyprus. Newsflash. Oh, yeah, but more than that. Blah, 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 yeah. They came to Turkey. The Turks did. Roughly 1050 AD. The Greeks. We've got Hittite records that indicate there were Greeks. Minimum 900 BC in the western part of Turkey. And really, if we accept it, which I don't, the accepted chronology, the conventional chronology, would be something like 1400 BC. That's 2,500 years before almost 2,500 years before the Turks made it to so-called Turkey. And even on I won't call it an abbreviated, realistic time frame, it's roughly 2,000 years before the Turks made it, Greeks. And roughly around the time my dad was born, Greeks were ethnically cleansed from the western part of Turkey by the successors to the Ottoman Turks. Check it out. About 1.5 million of them ethnically cleansed. About 100 years ago, the Greeks in that part of the area, in that part of Turkey, were the natives. And so the way it's put is, that was in exchange for 1 million Turks that were ethnically cleansed out of Europe. Newsflash: Turks aren't native to Europe. Okay, they're not native to Constantinople. The earliest record we've got of Constantinople, so far as I know, is it was a Greek colony. I don't know who was there originally. Maybe some people who were related to the Illyrians or whatever, but not Muslims, not Turks. Got that straight? No, you don't. Well, hopefully most of you do, but there's going to be some of you who just want to kick against the pricks. Anyway, so now Aya, recently, she always has got people on her program who just aren't very happy with the way things are in democracies. And the other day she had someone who was sounded pretty white, but sounded very academic. And now I was saying, something like, so you want to continue a program of taking down statues? Oh yeah, really enthused about that. Now, if I'm allied, I point out, that'd be hard for me to do because I try to be objective. I'd be saying, well, you do realize that taking down statues is a crime against humanity. Now, you can maybe put them in a statue park or something like that, but if you destroy them, it's a crime against humanity. They might not be nice works of art, but some people might think that they're great. So I even think that about statues of Stalin, or statues of...
Who was that?
I didn't... I just caught the tail end.
I don't know. Maybe.
Statues of Stalin, or statues of Hitler, or statues of Saddam Hussein. Or statues of John A. Macdonald. Those statues should, at the very least,
These ones
be
are Black
exhibited.
Krim.
The key with them is there should be a Sir John A. Macdonald.
They look beautiful.
He should. The statues actually should have stayed up in Kingston wherever they took it down, and it should be explained his role in residence schools and stuff like that. But
yeah, you just need a plaque on top of the statue, or like the other statue.
That applies to statues of Jefferson Davis. Is that his name? The President of the Confederate States of America.
I have no idea.
Well,
I guess it's important to know these things, but
well, it is. So you don't go tearing down statues of Robert E. Lee, whatever that statue was at the something like the University of Virginia or North Carolina or something like that caused such a kerfuffle, and someone died back in 2017. That statue should not have been brought down. The people who brought that statue down were bad people, bad in the sense of evil. Now the people who were counter-demonstrating, I think almost all of them are pretty bad too, in the sense of evil. Anyway, this academic was saying, wanted to replace the statues. Wow, I don't believe in replacing statues. Make some more statues. Have the plaques. So who was first on her list? Nella I was saying, who'd be on your wish list? Number one on this schmacademic's wish list was Paul Robeson. You see, like Paul Robeson was something like a opera singer or opera class singer.
that's interesting.
Yeah. And he was a black fella. And he kind of had a bit of a career. He might have been blacklisted, I'm not sure, because you see, he'd visit a certain place that was behind the Iron Curtain. Oh. He was a commie. And I gather he was a commie when
I should be saving these for
a guy
Tornado
called
loves eating tomatoes.
Uncle Joe was heading
Weird little dog.
the Soviet Union. Oh, what's wrong with that? Well, Uncle Joe was Joseph or Joseph Stalin. Ooh, Jugashvili, middle name. When you support the Soviet Union, the Stalins bossing the Soviet Union, you're a Stalinist. You got that? Paul Robeson was a Stalinist, so yeah, by all means, put up a statue. Even a singing statue. Have him singing some of his hits and something like that. But have a plaque there that says, this guy was a Stalinist. At the very least, a useful idiot. When you're a Stalinist, you're a useless idiot, really. Worse than useless. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. That's my little idea, Nella Ayed. And what you should have been saying is, hey, wasn't Paul Robeson a commie? Wasn't he a commie when Stalin was ruling over the Soviet Union? Why would you want to put up why would that be your number one pick for not putting statues up, but putting statues up to replace statues that you've taken down, maybe even torn down? No. Nalla Ayed, you are paid out of this pocket to be something like objective. You don't represent me, you useless hoser. You've gone into this pocket too. And you got a freaking agenda. Now I'm tired of hearing all this sort of stuff. Here's another thing I was hearing on CBC recently. Guy met Angela Davis. How cool is that? To meet Angela Davis. Okay, Angela Davis got away with murder. She was supplying guns to people who killed the judge. Who were those people? Her fellow Black Panthers. Some of them. Maybe a lot of them. They killed the judge. And she got away with it. Also, Rolling Stones. Now the judge is going to judge her for all that he's worth. And he didn't. The judge didn't judge her for all that he's worth. She should have been sentenced for murder. When you buy guns for people who are walking around saying they're going to shoot people, they're going to shoot people. Black Panthers were urban terrorists. You check out what nifty, shifty, hefty lefties have to say about Meir Kahane. I believe is the founder, the leader at the very least, of the Jewish Defense League. Now the stats that I've got from the FBI, and they might be skewed, indicate that the most persecuted minority, ethnic minority, religious or national, in the United States is almost twice as bad as it is for the next most persecuted blacks, is of course Muslims. You ask people and you'll say, what's the most persecuted minority in the United States? Every case, particularly nifty, shifty, hefty, Muslims. No, it's Jews. And up until recently, it was twice as bad for Jews as for blacks, at least based on the FBI statistics. And up until 9/11, and particularly ISIS, after 2011, Muslims weren't even on the radar. People didn't care about them. Even though a Muslim, at least a putative Muslim, killed Robert F. Kennedy. Now that was the most, I mean, like killing Martin Luther King didn't change anything in terms of the black agenda. But I am telling you, Robert F. Kennedy would have won the election in '68, almost certainly would have won re-election in '72, and that election really changed the United States. It really did. It was a major league coup. So there you got Sirhan, a Palestinian. He was called a Jordanian, but the Jordanians controlled the West Bank at that point in time. He's a Palestinian, and he wiped out Robert Kennedy because Robert Kennedy was doing something, so nasty, supporting the state of Israel. And, someone should have told Sirhan, you don't do that in a democracy. I don't care what you do over in your Muslim country or Muslim majority country, where there's just no tradition of democracy. In a democracy, you try to persuade someone, and you don't persuade someone by force of arms. You most particularly, you don't do it by wiping people out. That election was that coup was stunning. Of course, it looks as though it was done in conjunction with the mafia. But there's Sirhan running down something like a corridor with a sister. We got him. We killed him. Yeah, right. And of course, he was supposed to be a lone gunman. There he is. I guess it's his sister he's running. Yeah. Okay, lone gunman again. Crazy. Anyway. Sirhan, crazy like a fox. I think he had gambling debts and stuff like that. That's what the mafia got their clutches on him. Nasty guy, nasty pew. And no one came down on Muslims, nor should they, after the death of Robert Kennedy. But you look at the reaction to Martin Luther King getting killed. It was kind of like Kristallnacht for Jewish shopkeepers. I don't know if they had many Korean shopkeepers back then. But yeah, lots of burning and burn, baby, burn. Wow, brilliant. At any rate, how cool is that to know Angela Davis? What's Angela Davis? She's a Marxist. At the very least, back in the 60s, 70s, she was an avowed Marxist. She was given, I gather, a PhD by a guy called Herbert Marcuse. I think that's how you mispronounce his last name. Of the Frankfurt School, so that's in Germany. But I'm telling you, the United States is really punishing with dissent, because they punished him by letting him teach. Some of those guys, I think, taught at Columbia University. That's Ivy League, not a Bush League university. I think when he was in San Diego, and that'd be, I presume, the University of San Diego, not the University of California in San Diego. Not the most prestigious institution in the world, but definitely not the least. And I think he gave a PhD to Angela Davis. And it was just like, here you go. little bit of affirmative action here. And what's the thing to remember about, well, if you're a nifty, shifty, happy lefty, you'll want to forget it. No, you want to remember, because you'll just be thrilling to, or being thrilled to this little formulation. Herbert Marcuse believed in repressive tolerance. Yeah. In other words, you crush dissent, and that's how you get tolerance. Yeah, Marxists have tried that before. So Marcuse was an avowed Marxist. They've tried that before, and they've ended up killing tens of millions of people. So you do that over my dead body, and I'm sure there's not a few of you who'd be only too happy to do that. You do repressive tolerance over my dead body, you useless pukes. So yeah, that's more CBC. You know, like, how cool is that to meet Angela Davis? Yeah, it's about as cool as a 10th circle of hell. That's what it is. She's evil. And you can laugh at that 4-letter word, but understand, you folks, the way you talk about Donald Trump and stuff like that, you might not use the word evil, but that's the way you're acting. And Donald Trump's a nasty guy, but is he as nasty as you guys? I'm not so sure. There are some people, like the militias in the United States, right-wing militias, that are as nasty as Antifa, maybe even nastier. But it's, I think it's just a matter of, it's with an order of magnitude. You know? It's like Noam Chomsky says, we've got to be 10 times better than them. You know, he's talking about the Americans vis-a-vis the Vietnamese, so-called Vietnamese. It was really the Viet Cong and the Tonkin, Gulf of Tonkin commies. Tonkin imperialists / commies. Settler colonial commies. Tonkin settler colonials. And but he never seems to want to hold the commies feet to the fire or whatever. He never gets their tootsies to the fireplace. You know, hey, here's an idea. No, you get those folks that are over on the left wing with you, flapping the left wing, and you make sure that they're 10 times. No. Try to get them 1/10, no, 1/100, no, 1/1000th better. And that'll be an improvement. 1/1,000,000th may be better. How many people were killed by so-called witch hunts in the United States too? The Rosenbergs? And from what I could tell, at least the man was responsible for treason. How many people were killed by Stalin and company? 20 million? 20 million. See, it's by an order of magnitude of, what, 7 orders of magnitude. So it's not even 1,000,000 to 1. It's 10 million to 1. Wake up and smell the coffee. Okay, you got that? You're taking notes there, you dumb chimp? Anyway, so now Ayed. I want a little objectivity. That's what I pay you for, you stupid puke. I'm sick and tired of you. Like you're all you do is you hate this country that's adopted your parents, and in essence adopted you after you came back from the refugee camp. You want to break down democracy. Oh, you know, like every time I hear you know, democracy doesn't quite work here. You know, like what we need is equality of outcome, because with democracy we don't get equality.
I didn't have anything on it yet. That's good.
Yeah.
It's okay. I got all worried, but nothing to worry about.
It could have been bad, because it would have been hard to
well, I just would have had
disambiguate the seeds
yeah.
That you got with the seeds that are on the deck.
Well, I guess you could do a taste test, because the only ones I have left. So this is the early boys, or this size.
So that's early boy.
Yeah.
So that would be another legion of superheroes.
Yeah.
Hero. Early boy.
I don't know.
So
We'll find
he
out.
always gets there
Already,
early,
I don't like
whatever
the look
emerges.
of the seeds of this one are big for the size of the fruit.
They seem
you know?
quite large.
Yeah.
So that's early boy. I can try one of
thrilled
those
with
then?
that. You can try one of each and see which one
Okay.
you like the best.
Okay, so you've got them all laid out,
They're
right?
all in a row.
So this is Fat Boy. Which one is this?
Lemon boy.
Lemon Boy. So he would be kind of like everyone talking to him would turn sour and all that sort of stuff in the talk. How about this one? Is it another type of boy?
That one's Black Krim, which we have the
How do you
same
spell it?
problem with the black.
K-R-I-M?
Yep, K-R-I-M.
It's from Crimea.
Oh, really?
Well, that's German for Crimea.